Okay, so I'm starting to think that Christine Cabanos is going to follow me through my entire life of watching anime now. She's trying to become one of my favorite girls. She voices, what is her name? Erica. In this, she was Mako in Kill la Kill. She was Madoka in Roly Poly Madoka Magic. She's almost every anime that I watched as a part of my read thing has done it. I'm like, I love her. She's quickly becoming one of my
Can't
favorite
escape.
actors. And I'm fine with it. And Mike was wondering why Iris sounded familiar because he's Jeremy Lee, who's been in a ton of stuff as well.
Yep.
Yeah, so I know you did a synopsis for the entire series last time. I don't know if we've gotten individual ones here, but so apparently I still don't know what her age is, but I guess we now know that she has been with the Major for 4 years.
Yep.
Yes.
That's about all we know right now.
And
We
then
still
So,
don't really
The
know
twin
her
brother's
deal.
like, here you go. Here's a girl. Like, don't use her well.
Yeah, as a weapon only. And
More
anytime-
questions in that area.
Anytime in fiction when a character says don't get attached, guess what's going to happen?
They're gonna get
Yeah.
attacked.
yeah, is it raining outside? I think maybe a character is gonna die. Yeah, like how are we like
Do you know the
For real here.
classic side anime ponytail?
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Yeah, we find out that she's a gift from his brother. And that the family that he is from is a very rich family that he is not a normal member in. We find out later that even though they had a ton of money, that he was actually a guy that had a really good heart.
Mm-hmm.
Or he wasn't really associated with that type of, whoever the family was doing per se.
Yeah. Or it sounds like both of those brothers weren't, because like I don't know if they were in the army, but they sound like they're all rich, but the one had a ponytail. Oh, he did say the dad had a saber, so they probably all were a part of the army, and the brother was just an outcast.
Yeah.
I didn't think we were gonna get the amount of comedy that we got in this episode with Violet.
And it's the best kind of comedy too, because it's all character based, but it's also like it's like the Drax kind of sense of humor, where she's so socially inept that she takes everything literally,
Like little. Yeah.
Yeah.
to the point that it starts to ruin the reputation of their startup business.
Yes. And she types way too loud. I was like, someone's got to comment on that, and then it commented on it. One of the many great details of a show is, or any form of fiction, is when they say exactly what you're thinking.
That happened a lot watching this past season of Stranger Things. I would like predict a line in my head, and then they say it like 2 seconds later.
Exactly. And we're starting to get the more in and outs of just like how out of it Violet is.
Yep.
You would sit there next to Erica and Iris being like, you made an error in that sentence. That if you paid 2 blanket blanks, it would take you 120 years to pay that off. Are you going to live for that long? Not, is that a good thing? Are you going to live for that long is her question. I'm like, are you for real? It's like, what in the crap?
But talk about having no bedside manner.
No, or this is the weird part where it's like, what does she understand about humanity that she's honestly asking that's why, where she has to ask about, are you going to live for 120 years? That's the part where I'm like, man, what is your backstory? Because this is getting more complicated, and I get that's the part of the hook of the show. But I'm like, it's vacillating wildly between you had a weird childhood, and I don't know if you're human fully.
At this point, I'm starting to question. I mean, I still think like at worst, she's just she was just born right into the fires of war, and that's why she is the way she is. But if there's something more, like if she's not necessarily corporeal, then it'll certainly make things fascinating. But at the same time, it'll also kind of strengthen what I'm gathering now is the theme of the show, which is really all about the human condition.
Yeah, they're taught that like not knowing how to structure words properly and talking about the contradictions and like faults that humans have, where they have to have something to help them do it correctly. And yeah, it's man, it's breaking down that just how kind of screwed up humans are in a very innocent way. Which
Yeah.
I thought this was going to be a character study just about Violet, but it's a character study about human behavior through Violet. Because, like, again, I knew nothing with a capital nothing before I walked into this. I just knew that it was going to be something very different from what we've covered quite recently, and pretty much everything that I've watched recently. Because the last two animes that I watched outside of this were Black Lagoon and No Game No Life, so those are way over there compared to what this is. But it's like the episodes are so, I don't want to say slice of life. They're so like they have very little development in them. They're just tiptoeing along towards the end point ever so slowly, but it's all engaging enough to where you don't care. It's borderlining on sitcom like speed toward an end point, but without the bad writing.
Basically, what we have in this show is it's on Wikipedia they call it a fantasy, and maybe the fantasy element is going to be explored later, but right now this is really just a period drama with a little bit of fantasy elements.
Yeah, the little bit of like obviously with the mechanical arms, and I gotta remember what war. I want to say it's World War II. Was it World War II? That JoJo Part 2 takes place during, because you've got this German Stroheim that is like, I want to say 50% like robotic android. There is a like just waste a little bit of time here before Masao gets back. There's this one episode where it's the Red Diamond of Asia. I want to say it's of Asia, is the main like MacGuffin that the Pillarmen are trying to get from the Joestar team, and he needs a mask, and he needs this thing to put it in the mask. And there's this great scene in the English dub where Stroheim is so overdoing it, where he's just like, I did not see that he was wearing the mask. I couldn't have seen he had it with him. No. And me and my buddy Crow reference it all the time whenever there's a plot point of someone hiding some weapon on him or something. Oh, it's so, but like that's just JoJo period, where it's just over the top for the sake of, because like they're like part one, they're teenagers that are like 50-year-old bodybuilders, just these giant men. Say that part 3 too. Jotaro is like the size of a tank, and he's supposed to be like 15.
Okay, that's funny.
It's just these giant pillars of manliness. There's a great, oh man, I can't think of what the guy who writes it does, but there's this great joke by Wooly and Pat from Two Best Friends where they're like that he was discovering his sexuality throughout 30 years of writing, with because all of the jokes starts like. But all right, we're gonna like just talk normally now until Masao gets back, because I don't want to basically be done with the episode by the time she gets back, because the actual meat potatoes are coming back. So how you been?
Pretty good. Work's been pretty busy, but at least we had a sunny day today earlier. Got to do some yard work.
Nice.
And then watch some more Love, Death, and Robots, because that's what Cameron and I are talking about tomorrow.
Nice. I was going to go into work today and tomorrow, and I am still going in tomorrow because
So sorry about that.
that's fine. We're chatting, and then I'll cut this part out. Where I was going to go into work this morning because we can only work 6 of the 7 days a week, and I was going to do it for overtime, so redoing the floors of my house. And then I didn't go in because my alarm didn't go off, and then all of a sudden I get a message at 9 o'clock this morning that all of the machines that were currently plugged in at our Ohio Street, my plant, our Water Street plant, and our California branch got hacked.
Huh.
So literally no mechanics worked. And I was like, I was volunteering to come in today, so there was no reason. I'm like, glad I didn't.
Nice.
Yeah, but all right. We'll call it cut there, and we're going back. All right. So that was back. We actually had a small talk about JoJo's before this happened while you were away.
The audacity.
I know.
The audacity.
I'm sorry. I was telling them about what war is taking place in part 2? Is that World War II?
I went to World War II because they were keep talking about German engineering.
Yeah,
they keep on flexing the German engineering.
Yeah, because I was telling them
will
about
double check. I think it was around World War II.
I was telling them about how overdone the English dub of Stroheim is. It's great, but anyway,
I watched this. Yeah, I watched this sub.
It's something. Stroheim, when he finds out he has when Cars puts the mask on, is one of the best overdone voice acting on the planet. But anyway, so I wanted to get into the main points of like the episode, because again, this is what I was telling with Michael your way is that they have the weirdest pacing. Like, I'm enjoying watching all of the episodes that we've seen so far. It's great. But like, there is 2 seconds of plot in like each episode.
Yeah, it's kind of like planting the seed little by little. What the actual plot is.
Yeah, they haven't even watered the garden yet. They're just planting the seed.
Yeah, I just feel like they focus in most animes. They focus more on the world building first, and then based on that, they go into like what the plot is. So we're just kind of getting more of the world building.
I know. I just thought we were going to get more by this point, considering it's only before the movies came out was 12 episodes. But we're getting there slowly. So what Mike said, oh no, we're actually going to get into that at the end. The thing that I want to talk about is like, I kind of wondered where the term auto memory doll come from. It still makes no damn sense. But they talk about it in the episode. Go ahead.
I just feel like that's just, instead of just calling like them like a typewriter, that's just the name of it, like auto.
I know, but like, did I hear it wrong, or did they start calling the typewriter an auto memory doll, and then they called the other things that as well? That's what I thought I heard.
That sounds pretty accurate.
Yeah.
They described it as like the typewriter was the machine called the automated memory doll that the doctor made for his wife, and then I guess these stenographers kind of adopted that term for their business.
Yeah.
Like
that's what the typewriter people are called that instead of the actual machine.
Yeah, and I thought that was interesting as like the blind novelist still wanted to write. I'm like, you get the typewriter in there. I'm like, that makes sense of what you get the original use out of. So man, I held back. I almost teared up in this episode because 2 or 3 times in this episode, they mentioned that the owner is not going to get a salary this month.
Oh.
And when they mention that the brooch is on the black market and then they buy it and he used his salary to buy her the brooch, I was like,
is it too early to sip it?
If I knew what her age was, I would be a little more.
That's my only hesitation.
You'll be surprised when people can ship here.
Oh, I know.
You'll be surprised. I mean, I could go down that rabbit hole right now, but let's not get into that. But,
trust me. Oh, trust me. Do we even need to bring up the Ruby ship chart? Because that thing's ridiculous. I don't know if we've ever told you about the Ruby ship chart, Mike.
Yeah, when Atomic got killed, we brought it up multiple times.
Okay,
I was
all
just
right.
bringing it up in general sense. I could go to any fandom and it's like, yeah, these are the crab sticks in this fandom.
But yeah, man, I was not expecting that, and that's a really innocent thing.
Yeah.
But
it's just like that Frozen gif of Kristoff's going, I'm gonna tell him, and Anna's like, don't you dare. I feel like that's literally what's just happening right now towards Violet.
It is.
So I was like, I'm gonna tell her.
Yeah. It's like she's out and she has that moment out in the rain with Erica about how either of them don't believe they're good for that job, but she's still gonna try and defends her, even though she's terrible at it. And she thinks that Violet could be better than her. And they had that really sweet moment where you find out about the auto memory doll. It does make sense because it had the person typing it out. It actually had the doll on the typewriter. I forgot about that. That does make more sense. But you just like her intentions behind it. I love what they're doing with those end credits where they have a personal chat with each character. Yeah. Oh, it's so good. But they still are not going to outright say it. We have them say that, oh, by the way, he's not coming back. Are you really not even to the person that's not Violet going to say that he's dead?
They're going to drag this out for a bit, aren't they?
Yeah, now because they're not flat out saying it. Is there a small possibility that he is alive? Because if he is dead, why stress it out the whole episode?
I don't know. And the thing that Mike knows about me that I hate more than anything on the planet in a movie, an anime, a cartoon, is when they don't say things that people would talk about simply because the audience is watching them.
Yeah,
because then you would understand.
It could be a halfway point where it comes out. And then it just kind of goes towards a Gurren route, you just see her mostly damaged and how she overcomes it.
Yeah, there's two ways that I'm thinking about this. Either he's dead, and what's going to happen is there's going to be some point where Violet asks too much, and he finally screams at him that he's dead and he's not coming back.
Yeah, I feel like there's going to be a breaking point.
Or he's borderline a vegetable and is barely living, and they don't want to show him to her.
Either one of those are a very
plausible,
genuine possibility.
Yeah, because it's you don't they openly show that she's recovered and she doesn't see him die. She sees him in a near death state.
Yeah, they were both they were if Violet made it and they were both had the same or similar type of injuries, probably he.
Because she almost looked worse shape than he did.
She did.
Because she had her arms blown off. He just looks like he got shot.
Well, yeah, but he told her to run away. So what if she actually did run away, left him, and someone whatever type of war this was, the enemy took him captive type of thing. That's why it's he can't come back.
That is true. That could happen too.
Yeah.
Or he's missing in action and they don't even know if he's dead. Yeah,
it could be that he's war captured. But we don't know. Did they say how long the war ended, or
they just the only time frame that we know is that she was given to him 4 years ago.
Yeah, and they made it sound like the war just ended. she got recovered. Like,
Well, hold on. When she woke up in the hospital, she was there for 120 days. They did say that.
okay, so the
Okay.
war like ended not too
So,
long ago. So we kind
Not
of
too long ago. So it could have ended like within the last month because she was in the hospital
Yeah.
during fight.
And they
I
were
don't know.
saying it's going to take years to rebuild like the bridge and all that. So it probably
Yeah.
just ended. Like we don't know who actually won. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's different, and they don't need to reference it because like it's just that obviously it was in war, but
Yeah.
it's got everyone wondering. So it's man, this is so weird doing this when I don't know what's going on. Like in Ruby, I could do predictions all day because like I've seen 5 seasons of it or 6.
Oh, and the
7.
random theories we can pull out when we do Ruby.
Yeah, and now we're gonna have 2 different Ruby shows to cover. That's not gonna get confusing. But yeah, it's very good so far. This is the most,
I'm liking this quite a bit.
Yeah.
this is the most different anime I've watched in a long time, and I'm good with that. So
Yeah. Like this is kind of like ironically up my alley, so I'm like, yes.
Oh yeah, no, this is like if this were just a movie, this would be something that like Cameron and I would have raved about.
it's gonna be something. I don't know where this is gonna go, and that excites me. So all right, let's get on out of here. Mike,
You guys can find me on Twitter at Captain K42. You can check out my quick thoughts on letterboxd.com/CoachK42. And you can find me in all the various Facebook groups just at my name. You can check out Renegade Pop Culture on Facebook and Twitter at Ren Pop Culture. You can also find us on Podchaser and the Banana Meter and on YouTube. You can listen to all of our podcasts on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc. And last but not least, everything can be found at renegadepopculture.com. Need an escape? So do we.
And what's out?
And I mean, I could actually
All right, and you can find me everywhere at Organoid Zero. All right, we are going to get on out of here. Until next time. Bye.